InShalla, Ashe. Welcome to Friday, October 15th, 2021. I am Tonya D, holistic Sha'medium and subtle energetic surgeon. Sorry, I'm a little slow today, running like a snail, but the sun is out and I'm hoping the fun is out as well. So, did anybody have any lucrative dreams last night? I dreamt about grounding and protecting and opening the channels of the heart, along with explaining how I work with the fields when I do a session. Do I do a divination? Do I choose 4 pillars? Do I work with the energetics? Do they need a ritual or a prescription? Is it sacred geometry? Is it the angelic realm? And so much more. And honestly, it all depends on the person because we all carry a unique sound system, if you will, or we all send out unique sound signals. Just depending on what I see, it kind of tells me what the person will understand and what aspect, where do I want to dive into. Could be the health. If it's a health thing, I kind of like to look into the 4 pillars. If I need a cosmic signal, I go out into the cosmic highway, the stars and the galaxy, even the beings, the watchers, the otherworldly beings. And I might just pull a card with the divination, so it's kind of just whatever comes in. But today we have the energy of the elements of this yang fire monkey, or a being Shen. So being is like sun fire, and monkey is like unrefined metal, like rocks in their natural form, like a big rock mountain, or today that would be like a big lava volcano kind of rock, the combination. So our day is in need of some wood. Healthy eating feeds the heart of the chart. Drink your salad, if you will, healthy lemon water, or even a cucumber as well. You could add cucumber to water too. But the element of water, we kind of have a little bit of that, but we don't have any wood element or nature element, including in the branches. We have some hidden water and a fire that's in storage, but that's really that's about it. So it's really a day of nature, a day of transformation. So really expect the unexpected, if you will, in the transformation. So it's like Stranger Things, that show, if you've actually watched it, pre-experience, I watched it. So you might literally see through the veil today, the starry, starry night, and really allow things to fall away as Stranger Things kind of fall together, the unseen. So the universe is opening the door to a gateway that's like this galactic possibilities or improbabilities beyond the simmering energetic hiccups that we experience. So just imagine how James T. Kirk, if you will, how he felt as he finally literally went to the galactic frontier. Like literally where no man has traveled before, but kind of has. Pretty juicy, I bet, for him. So the frequency we frequent is in action finally. So I love getting a good otherworldly energetic boost. It's kind of like in my own cosmic soup. But what we spiritually attract, the principles of spirit that reside within us. So I've been posting the laws of the universe, or you could call them the laws of spirit. So be sure to check those out as well. They're probably more on my Instagram and my What's Up Tonya D platform, just depending on what platform that we all play on, right? So our energetic alert signal is this beacon in space. It's like our own starlight. So do we ever truly know what our heart truly desires? Like heartfelt desires? I think a lot of them get just squished under the rug. I don't know. That heartfelt desire. So it's a force that we often aren't frequenting. But when we do, even if it's just for that split nanosecond, it's like winning the lottery, the unexpected get out of jail card, the ticket that you filled out and you win a goodie bag at the local health store or a crystal shop, something where you might be shocked and wavering as it kind of comes into your field. And also as it leaves your field, it's kind of like this wavering. So oftentimes it feels a bit otherworldly. It's this unfamiliar, even those uncomfortable sensations. So it's like that electric strike or a zap you get, like if you're pushing a grocery cart, it's electric and all of a sudden it just zaps you. Some people just have this energy naturally. You could look where Uranus is in your natal chart. It really keeps us at the edge of our seat. And sometimes the suspense is almost like killing us, like the waiting. And our imagination is beyond the veil. So you might not know what is yours or theirs kind of energy. Things are kind of bouncing around, orbs and all, just all the good otherworldly things, the energetics, the frequencies, and the vibrations. So when these orbs collide, they literally transform, poof, into something new. So in the end, what they become is this unified force field. So kind of just pay attention to the waves, the sound system inside and outside of your beingness. So it would be like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the force is with you kind of today. And it's the galactic force. It's this otherworldly force. So you might be feeling excited about something and someone shifts the narrative and your excitement kind of fades away, glistening kind of in a way. So the feeling fades away, the future events and these feelings, they literally are shifting threads. So really stay grounded. I dreamt about staying grounded this morning. So stay in your authenticity. Be totally heartfelt you. And just know that whatever frequency you frequent today, the action of the law will actually manifest. You're going to gravitate that in or push it away. It doesn't really matter if, it's a negative loop or a positive one. So, your closet or your wardrobe should be kind of cleansed out of the old and ready for this new vibrant frequency of the new, the future feelings, the futuristic, the otherworldly. So let your wardrobe, your shining armor, really be your guiding light and explore the journey from what your feelings want to share and take the path that you feel is actually the most exciting, the most unusual, the one that gives you those butterfly feelings. And observe the bubbles of emotions shifting and changing shape. And also, as you do that, ask your heart, put your left hand on your heart and ask your heart channel, your spirit self. Your heart always knows what belongs and what doesn't in any of your cosmic soup ingredients. So if you feel like a cosmic love affair, just be prepared. That just might land today. If you feel like an alien or an otherworldly bank account is opening up, be prepared. So it's these feelings that kind of thread on through, break on through, that we need to put literally on the counter, like in front of us, like this effervescence, like otherworldly, looking through into the other dimensions, really. So it's even like, what is your peace? What is your joy? What is your heart channel calibrated to? And is it in sync with really what your heart desires, or is it holding you back? So it's kind of a great day to just navigate through those tread lines, maneuvering through any debris, the energetic debris, adversities, obstacles, anything that comes along your path. But as for sure, stay grounded and connect and even protect emotionally those threads in your emotional field, that channel. And then you're going to literally pop your cherry on where your heart is actually being authentic, like heartfelt juiciness. So whatever happens in your corridor, it's usually something that we have zero control over. It's these unexpected turn of events, a divine force of nature, if you will. Could be anything outside of us, out of our sphere of influence. So literally take the higher road, the virtual tour perspective, get on the mountaintop, take a deep breath, and enjoy that otherworldly view. Literally, you could just visualize all of that if you so choose. That's kind of what I was doing this morning. And I went with the animal of the day. I went with the owl of all the things. So the owl is speaking to us to conserve our energy until the time is right. Be observant of our surroundings, which is magical. So, the owl, these birds love to sit quiet and still so they can observe their surroundings. And that's actually the energy of today. And symbolically, it indicates that we need to remove ourselves from the noise of life. Take a moment to become meditative and silently observe your surroundings. And even slowing down and becoming more stable will allow us to kind of access this wealth of information. So the owl that surrounds you, whenever this bird is actually present, it's going to share the ability to see what others might miss. So the owl meaning kind of prompts us to literally open our eyes and honestly examine how things are. So you might be surprised by what you can suddenly see. As an example, other people's motives might now become clear to you. External appearances will give away to the truth and meaning hidden behind or beneath, kind of like underneath the rug kind of stuff. But also the owl symbolism, it comes to those who need to let go of some part of their life that's no longer needed. With that in mind, it cues us in to listen carefully to our inner voice and that guidance to recapture the knowledge of our correct path in our earth journey, in the path of life. So these birds, their senses can pierce through any shadows behind fear and darkness, break on through to the other side, the ghost in the darkness, the promise of light and happiness and knowledge. Now, if you have an owl that you're curious about, different owls have different symbolism. Just type that in the comments. But for now, until I see some comments, I'm going to go with the barn owl. The barn owl turns up in our lives. It's time to do a personal inventory, similar to the roadrunner. Make sure that you don't deny yourself the pleasures of life. In this way, by opening up our hearts and embracing everything, we can live our life to the fullest. And we're also entering a period in which we are abundantly fulfilling all of our needs. But it's also insisting that we adapt to our current situation, take the time to separate ourselves from the external hubbub that's going on, that's surrounding us, and reconnect with spirit. Only then will we find the answers that we seek, and also the way forward. Now, the burrowing owl, that's symbolic when it makes an appearance that it's time to take a good look at where you're going spiritually. Taking things too seriously is not what this path is all about. Fill your life with humor and laughter. And also your path to enlightenment should be no different. So you should ground yourself and have a good laugh at all the austere antics. So it's also insisting that we share our spiritual light with others. And it takes it a little bit of humorous kind of storytelling for them to understand the point of view that you might be trying to make. The great horned owl, so when this one appears, it means that you must literally identify with your goals, the goals on what they are, and then take action, be fearless in the action. So it's like you've been trying to move forward without actually having a specific direction in mind. So it's time for you to really set a clear intention. It also signifies that you need to set some boundaries with others bit by bit. So they might have been taking liberties with your generosity and are now kind of invading your space. So in other words, just pay attention to like the body language, the vocal characteristics of anyone around you, so you can literally discern their true intentions and literally put a stop to it. The screeching owl, I like the squeaky. But the squeaky is similar to the hyena, and it represents our ability to maintain our authentic self in group activities, where your decisions are your own and any events you choose to participate in are because you wanted to and not because you felt like you have to. Big difference there. But it's also an indication that we might be feeling overwhelmed by a task. Similar to the stink bug of all things, this bird insists that we change our perception of the job by breaking things down into smaller parts. And then that makes it more manageable for us to kind of go through, like the baby steps. The snowy owl. The snowy owl is symbolic that we must have a strategy to extricate ourselves from a current situation and have some careful planning, a great deal of patience. You'll be able to do more and move forward and leave the situation behind you. But it's also a great white bird insisting that we use our foresight in manifesting our desires. But be careful for what you ask for, because you just might well receive it. So you should make sure that you know what it is that you're trying to manifest and set a clear intention to get there. So if you have this owl or spirit animal as a totem, you might find yourselves drawn to the dark and prefer to work during the night hours. For this reason, you have no fear of the occult, darkness, or magic, and you often have the gift of prophecy. So these folks use their wisdom to extract secrets from those around them, and they know how to listen to the inner voice. And as a result, they're going to hear not what others are saying, but what they are thinking and feeling by detecting those subtle energies of sound that other people can't understand. And also, other people are unable to deceive people with this spirit animal or totem because they can see into the darkness of their souls. Most people with an owl totem are also clairvoyant because of this ability to observe and empathize. Since it can be terrifying at times, they have to learn to trust their instincts about people. So again, the barn owl as a spirit animal, they always seem to get what they want. They're intelligent, resourceful. Even when things get tough, most folks with this spirit animal will be clairaudient, and they use it to tune into their guides and guardians. They're great listeners, great at listening to others, picking up the nuances of the conversation, and they're good at spending or reading between the lines. The great horned owl, if that's your power animal, you tend to be dignified and somewhat aloof, similar to the camel. You're adaptable and you can make adjustments, requiring, on the fly. Even like the boar, these people know what their purpose is in life and will focus on their goals. If they want something, they literally set out to get it. More often than not, they accomplish these goals rather quickly. People with the great horned owl are also territorial. They're dominant and they attack life with great enthusiasm. The snowy owl, if that's your totem animal, and there's more of these online, I'm sure you can find them, but if you have the snowy owl, you live in both the physical realm and the spirit world. You make influential spiritual leaders. You're mysterious and sometimes very disconcerting, but you're very observant and conserve your energy until the perfect moment to act. So you're excellent. You have this excellent sense of timing. These people appear to be quiet and unassuming. People underestimate your strength. These people appear to be quiet and unassuming sometimes, and we often underestimate their strength and their ability to get the job done. But they're catalysts for change in anyone who comes into contact with them. So the owl in a dream, when you have an owl in your dream, it might be telling you that you need to let go of the past or specific negative behaviors. If this bird of prey hoots in your dream, it's a message of disappointments and death. In other words, your unconscious mind might be trying to get your attention to your thoughts or actions in your waking day-to-day life. So these thoughts and actions are counterproductive to your spiritual goals. So to have an owl or a dead owl dream, that's symbolic of some illness or death. Death in a sense, it's kind of symbolic death. It could signify a transition in your life or the end of a harmful habit. So when the bird and the owl, the dream is trying to peck your eyes out, that means that you lack insight somewhere in your waking life. It's an issue that you're trying desperately to avoid. The barn owl, if you dream of a barn owl, it's saying that it's indication that you're avoiding the use of your higher senses, your spidey senses. You're going to miss an opportunity that might subtly present itself. Instinctual action, you're ignoring what you need to do. It's also a message that some progress towards your goals are going to happen. And then I'll just do the snowy owl. If you dream of a snowy owl, it's a reminder that you are never alone and you have a variety of guides and angels, an entire village around you that surround you. So if it speaks to you, it's really a direct message from them. Don't worry if you can't hear them or understand them. It's a message that's clear for your soul. And the appearance of this bird in your vision symbolizes the need for clear intention and even evaluating your goals and revising your directions as needed. There's more on the owls. There's different kinds of owls, so I'll let you kind of journey through that. But, the card of the day, I went with my Shadowscape deck again, which I love. I wish you could see these up front. I don't know sometimes if the pictures I take give them the clarity and the magic. This one actually looks pretty good, right? But we have the Hermit. We also have the High Priestess. They're both reversed. And also the Six of Wands. But the Hermit is the seeker who has turned his back to the noise and the light and the distractions of the world. So in the city, we have this fragile light of our stars. It gets drowned by the glare and the haze of life. And he has this lantern, and he was actually told by a wise woman, a wise being, an otherworldly being, that the lantern is actually a captured star, and the star knows its way home. So this lonely beam of light kind of pulls and clears of the valley. It just shimmers through like a liquid mirror, if you will. So his star lantern is actually marking the path, and he doesn't know where it's going, but he just knows that the lantern's going to light the next step and the next and the next and so on and so on. So he's climbing to a distant pinnacle that's clear of smog, the smog of humanity. As he kind of retreats and goes in, he retains an air of this spiky aroma, spicy, it's a fragrance. And it's a purity that he doesn't know, and he's missed it until he breathes it in for the first time. That's kind of the echo of today. And then his body literally aches for it. And he cannot live without this breath of life, this sense of smell. So others have been here before him, but the steps are kind of pristine. There's no indication of anybody else passing through. It's the nature of the place that he gets to come to their very first time. And the only and no other, nobody else has been there until the present visitor is actually forgotten. It's cascaded away. So it's this journey. And during the course of his trek, his eyes finally become accustomed to the darkness of the wild. So he lives behind the memory of the city, those city lights. So the star in the lantern, it burns hot, it's bright. And the lantern also knows that it's got other starlights around it. That's kind of what those little orbs are. Those are actually other stars. They look like shells, sacred geometry, like the spin, right? So just being introspective, seeking solitude, withdrawing from the world, giving or receiving guidance. The hermit is an inspirational friend, can be a teacher. They can help us illuminate the secrets within our own mind in a way. It's had this mysteriousness that can be made clear, come into the proper light, shine light on a situation. The loons are the birds at the top there. They're gliding on these silent wings across the horizon in the elusive shadows of the evening. And they're symbols of peace and tranquility. They have this early morning haunting call that kind of echoes across waterways. It's compared to like ancient wisdom in the voice, the haunting. But they're also respected for their knowledge of the sky. And they've often, you'll see these feathers often in the headdresses of Indian chiefs. So that's curious. But I think this is just a magical, beautiful card. So it's almost like we have to go in and find our solitude and also come outside, because it's reversed, and reconnect with other aspects of our solitude. So then I pulled the High Priestess, and she opens herself to the sky. So she's in this radiance of the stars, and she's got her cheeks just glowing, and she soaks up the light, the starlight, this incandescent starlight, just feeling it glow within her mind, opening the corridor and dancing into different patterns of the moon and the stars. And the stars chant for her, the owl. That's why I picked the owl who hoots in the darkness, calling out to this mistress with this music of the night. And his white feathers are kind of gleaming in the moonlight as if he's like this beacon of light within him. He's got his own starlight, and he's just gliding through the darkness to come rest near her. And just know the night is always full of whispers. There's secret knowledge of the stars, the trees, the earth, the beings, the spirits of each. They kind of tell their own collective stories and also their own innate wisdom. But she's weaving these threads, these sounds through her fingertips, drawing in those voices into the physical being within her fingers. It reminds me of how you can, start seeing auras when you start playing with the tips of your fingertips. But the filigree, that's a key. It's an access key. And the owl, she's calling to this owl. And she's saying to him, take this and be the bearer of secrets. So this high priestess is the wisdom. She's the knowledge. She's the learning, intuition. It's purity. It's virtue. So she's lifting out her arms. And in that gesture, her body becomes a living symbol of a chalice. However, she's like our heart chalice. I talk about the heart chalice. It's like it's opposing forces. So it's like spiritual energy coming down into the physical, those opposing the channel. It's totally our crown center, like bringing in the light of the divine, right? But the owl itself, is the keeper of knowledge. He bears a key to unlock all those mysteries. Where the pomegranate in her hand, the pomegranate is Persephone, the icon or the symbolism of Persephone, who tasted the seeds and was then tied to Hades, to the underworld. So it's this fruit of fertility, but it's also a fruit of death. And the moon is actually embroidered in her outfit, her garment, as the moon. It's showing its waxing and waning. It's this crescent and also the gibbous. And it creates this full cycle that's actually embraced and embedded into one. So we have that energy as well. So to me, that represents like opening up the channels to spirit. Then I pulled the Six of Wands, which look at this little guy. He's looking awesome there. He's standing up on this on the stone of the lion. So it's a symbolic of kings and emperors, and he's proclaiming his ascension, his triumphant declaration. He's like toning it. So even the lion who's bowing his head and he's got his claws closed, he's submissive, and he's like just consenting to being submissive. So he bears his wand like a scepter, and he's raising his crown, as you can see, that circle with his hands far out. So he knows his own internal star is rising, and he dares anyone to challenge him. But he's seen a variety of challenges come and go, whether it's a brave knight, a foolish knight, a clever one, who thought, he thought he could like outwin him, famed ones with their followers, and also those who are full of the bravado but have small scale. So none of them have actually been able to test him. He's very confident in his own strength, his abilities, somewhat prideful, maybe arrogant. He's certain that there's no equal to his might, his heroism is kind of what I'm seeing. And he's kind of reached this position by fighting through the masses and distinguishing who he is, And even, one of the challengers who's going to beat him might eventually still be waiting in the wings of time, waiting for the right moment to like strike and to take down this overly confident king. So the Six of Wands, that's symbolic of victory. It's triumph. Anyone who's like prevailed and overcome a lot of obstacles, they always end up on top. But you also need to be aware of being fallen prey to feeling those emotions of superiority or even lifelessness, like you become lazy. Where when you have an uncontested victory, that might bring in, those kind of frequencies, and you become lost and feeling like you're self-important. It's like your high horse kind of thing. So it's just a magical day to really bring in all of your energetic centers online. See where you are most aligned, enhancing your own personal confidence, spirit. So with the crown energy open to receive the balance of being and the physical and the otherworldly influencers, any shade of violet. I prefer effervescent shades. These cards are actually effervescent violet. That's kind of why I went with them today. And just know that your heart channel and the crown are in this immersion to bring all of those unlimited futuristic possibilities. So the door is literally open. You have the support and also those otherworldly resources. So we can bring in the sound of shishing, if you will, wood energy, and also the sound of ong with a white silverly light or a crown of gold, if you will, in and through your crown. But just be aware of the other world, the higher realms today, your own personal spiritual talk show, if you will. Be in your own personal joy molecules, feel them, enhance them, be a beacon for them, and really just imagine yourself on top of the highest mountain peak, transforming your essence into the being that you wish to be, and just feel it, know it, and also enhance it at the same time. Kind of like our Six of Wands on the top of his little fortress here. And an affirmation for today would be, I affirm the spiritual being that resides within me, and I am holding space for the feelings I feel the mostest. So it's the feelings that are probably a little more otherworldly. They're the juicier ones, but allow spirit to be that beacon, your spiritual being, to be the beacon, the essence that resides within you, and make it a magical day and expect the unexpected, the juice of it. Stay in the positive flow. InShalla, Ashe, and I will see you as always on the other side.